Hey there, my Equalizer fans. It's your girl, Barbie J, and we are back with Season 3, Episode 14, No Good Deed. And we had another winner. This was a great episode. I enjoyed it thoroughly. Sorry for the delay in getting this put out, but your girl Barbie J forgot to do her taxes. And you know today is tax day, so I had to get my taxes done. And I worked on them all day Sunday and into Monday and had them sent to my accountant and paid her and everything else. So I am all good and happy now. Anyway, this episode has been about reuniting. Reuniting, and it feels so good. Reunited 'cause we understood. There's one perfect thing, and sugar, this one is it. We all are so excited because they've been reunited. Hey. That's right. It's all about being reunited in this episode. So let's jump right in. But before we do that, if you have not subscribed to my channel, please take a moment right now, hit that subscribe button, then hit the like button, and write a comment. Please help Barbie J's channel grow. I'm trying to reach my goal of 2,000 subscribers by the end of May. Thank you. Anyway, so now this episode starts off with a bus full of immigrants, whatever, being dropped off in New York when they were supposed to be brought to Boston. Then we see Congresswoman Elena Acevedo is on TV complaining about this busing and saying they are human beings, and not political pawns. They did this little scam and dropped them off where they wasn't supposed to. It wasn't cool. These people were lost, So she invites a couple from the bus to stay, with her because none of them had a place to stay. Then one night as she was at home on her laptop, she hears a noise and gets her gun to see who's at her house. And she calls out the names of the two people, but they don't answer. Then we hear a gunshot and a young man, Jaime, who was one of the person, he runs out of the house with blood on his shirt. The next morning, we see Robin and Dee talking to Aunt Vi about one of her art students who is talented artist, but, Aunt Vi says she can tell by his painting that there's trouble at home. He always paints a happy family and then a figure in a shadow separated from the rest of them. And so Dee and Robin have faith that Aunt Vi can get through to him some way. But then Robin leaves for a client meeting with Marisol Perez, whose husband, Jaime Perez, is being accused of shooting Elena Acevedo, the congresswoman, who I will be calling her Elena for the rest of this video because saying congresswoman is way too long. Anyhow, she let Robin know that her husband is innocent, and she explains what happened and their hard journey to America, and they have nowhere to go. And Robin talks with Harry and Mel about this case, and then to Dante to see what NYPD makes of this case so far. Then Dante talks to Elena's husband and asks him some questions. Robin goes and confronts Jaime, who is sitting handcuffed in jail. And she wants to know if he shot Elena. And he said no, because she was the only person giving them hope. Then Robin gets a call from Dante saying the congresswoman died on the operating table and that the charges against Jaime Perez have been upped to murder. Oh no. Then now, so Robin, Mel, and Harry are trying so hard to figure out who would want to kill Elena. And Harry mentioned that her office said she'd been getting threats daily. So Mel goes over to the congresswoman's office and talks to Lacey Young, Elena's, chief of staff. And she gave Mel a long list of threats that Elena had received. And she gave Also, she gave Mel the name of Carmen Santos, a community activist, as someone that Mel could talk to about Elena since she had been working closely with her on the migrant bill. So then it switches over to Aunt Vi, Miss Marcette, in the classroom, and she's at her art class, and she tries to get her student who she was worried about, Robbie, I think his name was, to open up about why he paints that graffiti artist in a shadow in all of his paintings. And he said it's just something he likes to do. So she offers him a ride home, drops him off, drives off, and looks into her rearview mirror and sees him go back down the steps and go around a corner. So Vi turns her car around and tries to follow him, but loses him. Robin, we see now, speaks to Carmen to find out any info that she can about who would want to kill Elena. Then Dante called and said that Elena's husband said that one of Elena's necklaces was missing. So Robin asked for a pic of the necklace so that she can have Harry look into it. Then at this point, you know, when Dante hangs up with her, he opens a folder he was handed with a pic and a case file of a suspect, and said, "Where are you hiding, Nolo or Lolo?" Remember last week when last episode when his friend who owned the boxing gym got shot? Well, that's the name that he gave Dante while he was in the hospital, and Dante asked him, "Who did this? Give me a name." And so that was the name that he gave. In the meantime, Harry receives the pic of the necklace that they saying that was stolen, and he finds out that it was sold to a shop one day before Elena was killed, and the person selling the necklace were Carmen and Marisol. Also, there were some large cash deposits in Carmen's bank account going back 18 months. And Carmen was arrested also back in Venezuela. So she served time for administrative irregularities, it said, aka fraud. So they called Robin, and she goes back to the center to confront both ladies about what she has learned. And they come up with a good story that Robin was not sure about at first, but it was the truth. You know, it became believable. So she continued working on the case because Marisol is like, "Please do not give up on my husband." So then Marisol gave Robin a lead to follow up on as well regarding a protester who used to stand outside of Elena's house every night saying "stop the alien invasion" or something like that. So she provided her a description, and Harry looked into this guy. Harry, what he did was cross-reference Marisol's description with the list of from Elena's office of folks making threats daily, and they came up with Clay Miller. So then back to Aunt Vi, she finally finds Robbie being pushed around by two guys, and she blows her horn and they run, and she goes over to Robbie and asks if he's okay and tells him to get into a car. So he asks how did she know where he was, and she tells him that she'd been looking for him for hours. That's dedication, y'all. That is love. I love Aunt Vi, you know. So then after some questioning from Miss Marcette, I'm sorry, that's what Robbie calls her, he finally comes clean about his life and his brother Darius, who he spends time looking for each day. And Aunt Vi puts two and two together and says, so Darius is the graffiti artist in Robbie's painting standing by himself. So then it switches over to Mel and Harry going to visit Clay Miller at a shooting range. What is it called? A shooting range, a gun range, that inside one? Y'all let me know down in the comment section. So he doesn't like the questions that those two are asking him. And so Clay goes for his gun, and Mel grabs it. You know, she unarms him and knocks him down to the ground and then kicks Clay. And then three other guys, they get involved, and Mel unarms them as well. And then when done, she see that Clay has a gun at Harry's head. I'm like, Harry, you didn't see all this going on to avoid getting a gun put at your head? Your wife is fighting three other guys and you standing there watching? Anyway, Clay got the gun to his head, and you know, Mel throws hands up, and her hands up saying, be cool, you know, or whatever. You don't want to make no mistakes, anything you be sorry for. And he's telling them to shut up. You know, he's telling them to shut up. You know, they up here trying to pin a murder on me, you know. And then Harry and Mel start arguing with each other to distract Clay. And he keeps telling them, just shut up, shut up. And then Harry turns around and punches Clay with a right hook when he was off guard and knocks him to the floor. So that's how they got that done. And then Robin told them to call Dante and send him to lock up. Seemed like he deserved a night in there, something like that. So now we have Aunt Vi telling Robin the details of what happened with that student she told her about that morning. So Robin lets Vi know that, you know, NYPD keeps a database of taggers That's another word for graffiti artist. So Vi asked Robin if, she could ask Detective Dante to look into it for her. And Robin said she'd call him in the morning, but no guarantees. And they toasted with a glass of wine together, Anyway, so now we have Detective Dante questioning Clay. I don't know if it's the next morning or not, but he's questioning Clay and letting him know that his actions dumb, and what Congresswoman Acevedo was doing would have helped him and his business as well, as much as it would the migrants. And he told Dante about the yard signs he would put up each night, and he had an alibi for the night that Elena was killed. And then Mel remembered something that Lacey had told her about a sign with a snake on it or something, and a serpent or something like that. And Mel is wondering how Lacey would know about that sign if it had not been put up until that night Elena was killed, because remember, Lacey told Mel she had been chained to her desk and had not seen Elena in days. So they have Harry dig into Lacey's life, and he sees that she has an encrypted texting app on her phone, which means you can't see who she is texting with, but can still read her text messages. So Mel texts Dante to see if he can bring Lacey in for questioning, and he said he'll get on it. Then Robin and Mel go to Elena's office to see if they can find the package Lacey was talking about in her text messages. And as they are looking around, Robin finds a bug, and a listening bug, and realizes that someone had been listening to Elena's convos. So they leave and contact Harry. They learn that an opposer to her bill, Congressman Walter Gray, has skills in tactical surveillance from his time as a FBI field agent. So they figure out what they believe may have happened, and they think that they can get Lacey to flip on Walter Gray. So Robin calls Dante to see if he found Lacey, and he said he found her, but he doesn't think that she'll be very helpful because she's dead. And it looks like a gunshot to her head. I'm wondering, did she commit suicide and try to kill herself, or did somebody kill her? I don't think they ever gave that detail for sure. Anyway, she might have killed herself for feeling guilty or something. It could have been suicide. We don't know. So they put a plan together to catch Gray by having Congressman Jennings call and back out of supporting Gray's bill. So he has one of his men, I forgot, one of his aides, go to a storage locker and get out a tape recording they have of Jennings saying something that would expose him. And they were going to use it to blackmail him, because that's what they're figuring that Gray had been doing, blackmailing all these politicians, because they planting bugs in all of their offices. But then Robin was there. She pulled a gun on him and asked for the tape. This is when the aide was coming out of the locker, a storage locker. I still don't know how she found the storage locker. Anyway, then a security guard points his gun at Robin and tells her to put her gun down. And she tells him that she's in law enforcement. He asks for her badge, and she says she doesn't have it. So so she puts her gun down, and the guy with the tape throws a box at the security guard. See the dumb security guard? And he drops his gun. Robin does a roll over. She jumps and rolls, grabs her gun, grabs his gun, and points it at him and tells him to stay down. And she runs after this guy with the tape. But Mel showed up in time to trip him as he was running, and they caught him and took the tapes, and he had on him, which was one for B. Jennings and one for Elena Acevedo. And the one for Acevedo helped prove that Jaime did not kill Congresswoman Elena Acevedo. So now Maricel and Jaime were reunited, as I said, and they were very grateful for what Robin did to prove his innocence. Then we see a police officer bringing a young black man into the precinct and hands him over to Dante. And the young man is saying, "I didn't tag anything." And Dante told him, "Calm down. That's not why you're here. Have a seat." Then we see Miss Marcette walking into the precinct with Robbie, who wants to know, "Well, why are we here? I don't understand." And then Robbie looks over and see his brother Darius, and Darius sees Robbie, and they smile and rush towards each other, and they hugging and tight and saying how they missed each other and thought they never see each other again. This was so touching. I like to see, this brotherly love. It made me feel so good, especially with their parents both are dead and they got separated, out of the system. Anyway, so Dante walks over to Vi and she thanks him for helping her out. He said luckily Darius was in the database and that Robbie is lucky to have her as in his corner. And she says she appreciates that. And then she said, "It's good to see you again, detective." And he said, "Under better circumstances this time." Then she thanked him for what he's done for her family when Robin was taken. And then she pulls out a container with 6 look like red velvet cupcakes in it. I don't know if she made them or bought them from his favorite bakery or something, stating, and just a little token of her gratitude. And Dante's eyes lit up and he said, "Miss Marcette, anytime you need a favor, please feel free to call." And she giggled, just like I'm giggling. Then he got a call from the 89th precinct from a Detective Hutchins who told Dante to back off from the Ramirez case he's been looking into, that it's in their jurisdiction, and anyways, he's a little too close to the victim. So Dante hung up very upset. I was like, damn, how'd they know he was close to him? But I guess they did. Then it ended with Vi sharing with Delilah and Robin that her student and his brother were reunited and that Robbie's foster parents agreed to take Darius into their home as well. And she also said that she saw Detective Dante at the precinct, who said Robin was working hard on a case. And so Robin shared that her client was falsely accused of murder and today he was released. So Dee said, "That was so amazing. Both of you, I love you guys." And she was like, she can't imagine being separated from her family and that she is lucky to have so many people she can turn to. She said, "I love you both." And they all hug. And it was all about, like I said, reuniting once again. And that was a great episode. Y'all let me know down in the comment section what y'all thought about it. I thought it was great. And I will see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe. Peace.